Community Radio.
I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to Conversations with Al McFarlane. Glad to be here and glad to have you along as well. Marveling as all of us are here in the great frozen Northwest at phenomenally low temperatures. But in my point of view, it gives us something to talk about. And we're talking about it being sub-zero today. But I'm pleased to have with me colleagues and friends, leaders, elders, and community, some of whom were with me last week and the past 2 weeks. And we're going to continue a series of conversations over the next several weeks about art, culture. I call it about the genius of our people. And with me right now are Malaku Bilay, who is the founder and leader of the Fandika Cultural Center. He's joining the program from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I'm so happy that we are able to use this technology, Brother Malaku, to connect us wherever we are in the world. And with me is the person that connected us, Brother Douglas R. Ewart, a multi-disciplinary artist, inventor, creator, poet, writer, musician, and educator, teacher. So, gentlemen, first of all, welcome again. Good to see you both again. And as always, I tell our audiences this is an unscripted conversation. We're sort of following the spirit. And let me start with you, Brother Douglas Ewart. Before we went on the air, you were saying something about, how we need to reassess how we define our creativity. That back in the 70s, they called this whole rash of movies that were created and brought to the market blaxploitation films. And even that language tended to trivialize or marginalize our creativity. Go ahead and build out on that. Hey, Seitu.
Hey. How are y'all doing?
We're great, man. Good to see
Glad
you.
to see you.
Good to see you too.
To respond to your question, Al, is we latch on to things that come out, such as saying blackball or blacklist, and we usually don't have the power to do any of that. We should call it whitelisting or something, because that's really what happens. Is the people that have the power. And maybe we shouldn't even use that language necessarily, but if anything, that would be more appropriate, because as you look at various activities, the people that can block you are usually people that are considered under the construct of whiteness. I was watching program this morning. My television went out, and it's been a blessing because I've been Googling up different things that it's an enormous amount of things that are on the archived that you can watch. I watched an interesting document with Melvin Van Peebles, Gordon Parks, and Ossie Davis, and it was about Black directors and Black actors, and particularly about Black direction, because
Brother Bayeti, I have a, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So the point is, for example, with the blaxploitation nomenclature, we're downgrading a crucial point for Black actors and Black directors and Black filmmakers. It was crucial. It was a crucial time. We were showing Blacks as being heroic in ways that never was made in film before. These films were very successful. Nothing is ever perfect, but this was an important needle mover in terms of Black control, Black creativity, Black people seeing themselves on the silver screen, and an important time. And so I hear some of I hear many people actually. Some of them consider themselves real great thinkers using black exploitation in a negative way, and we should look at the positive aspects of what occurred as a result of that time, um, and that it was a very short-lived period. And when we look at how difficult it is to break into film, because film is one of the most powerful mediums in that it uses narrative, it uses the sonic elements, and then you have the mime aspect of it. It's huge in terms of the various as an interdisciplinary form. It's one of the most powerful things that devices, if you will, for any people, and particularly for Black people.
Say to Jones is here. Say to brother, good to see you again. How are you, man?
I am well. It is so good to be here and to listen to Douglas dropping wisdom on us as usual. One of the things I just want to make one comment, and then I'd love to hear from the brother from Ethiopia and hang on his every words almost. But Douglas touched on something that is really key and important for artists, and that's the power of naming. You know, our oppressors, the folks who are hyper-capitalists, always will name something and will do that with abandon, and will do that just really casually as well. And what we need to do is enlist our poets, enlist our musicians, enlist our visual artists, our literary artists to take a real multidisciplinary approach to reclaiming and renaming all of these things that we're doing. I mean, Douglas is a key proponent to talk about African-American music and the African-American music tradition, as opposed to just labeling it jazz. So there's this long discussion that could go along with that.
Malaku Bile is joining us from Ethiopia. Again, it excites me that we're able to use the technology today to connect. Who was on the call? Who will come back in a couple of seconds? We lost him, probably with connection problems. From Jamaica is a brother that I have met only watching him on TV, but he should be back in the program in a couple of seconds. And again, that elevates the idea of our brother. There he is. Alkali Bayete, boom, boom, is joining us from Jamaica. Yes. I'm going to bring you in a second, brother Alkali, but we want to go straight to our brother from Ethiopia. And Alkali, I understand, is a Garveyite. And I speak to you as a person whose office is called the Marcus Garvey House in Minneapolis. I'm a Jamaican, right? I'm from St. Mary, though I was born here. So it's nice to connect with my home country and to connect with you. Douglas, you are also a Jamaican. Nice to connect with you in Jamaica right now. But before we have you talk, yes, Brother Bile, jump in the conversation. Welcome and good to see you again and hear you again.
I am here. Big up yourself, man. It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure to be around my Black brothers and elders as we talk about the Black people and how we can move forward. Because Garvey is one of my favorite here. If it wasn't for Garvey, I wouldn't be the man who I am today.
Okay. Let me have you hold on to that thought, Brother Bayete. Hold on, because I wanted to bring in Brother Malaku Bile in from Ethiopia. Brother Malaku, go ahead. And everybody else, let's mute so we have bandwidth until we come on to speak, okay?
Thank you very much. Yeah, and when I see you all an amazing big brothers, and I feel shy. So if if I speaking about humanity or as Ethiopian concept here, well, it's as Ethiopian concept is here, and we just speaking about just equality and justice, not like black and white, because we are equal, and with face to face we speak in here, and never less, never big, and sorry, and I'm not yeah, sorry, and just hello.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Yeah.
We're limited because we, at least I, can't speak Amharic or many of the other languages of Ethiopia.
Okay, and I should to wait with please give my brother and from Jamaica, and after I will come back on it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Al, you're muted.
Thank you. I was saying, Malaku, and as far as the language, I would love to hear your voice in Amharic, and to feel, though I don't understand it, to feel the language, the passion. And the right thing for me to do then is to say next week or the following week when you're here again, have someone to be part of the program who's a translator. So you speak in Amharic, and this translator, he or she, can speak in English, who is proficient in English. And that's how we accomplish that, because that's what we do. We find ways to connect. Let me go to Brother Al-Khali Bayeti, boom, boom, who's joining the program from Jamaica. Brother, good afternoon. Good to see you again. So unmute and jump on. So talk about your work as an artist, and your work and the feeling of Marcus Garvey that is part of the inspiration for what you do. So now we're not hearing you. We lost your audio. Try it again. Well, technology, such as it is. Say too, you, Douglas, and I can keep going until we can get Al-Khali's audio, because we're not hearing your audio, Brother Al-Khali Bayeti. Say too, talk about the exhibit you've got going on right now at Homewood Studios. You're presenting portraits of yourself in various situations. What's the idea and what's the inspiration?
You know, for the last few years, I've been doing these images, these self-portraits in oil and water-based material, and sometimes even in metal. And I've been depicting myself in these roles that African-American men in particular have found themselves in for the last 400 years. So I did an image of myself as enslaved, one with hands up, another with myself in the Great Migration. And with all of these, just wanted to touch base is in a small way to recognize this long journey that we've been on. So this work is up for the next week or so at Homewood Studios right on Plymouth Avenue. And one thing that you should know, Malaku, that Al and Douglas and I are in Minnesota, where it currently is, I think, about 8 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. And even with that, the struggle continues. So we'll all be out at some point in time, even in this weather.
I wanted to pick up on something Brother Melaku mentioned, which is that, you know, we're working towards a better world for everyone. It's unfortunate that we have to address some of the issues that we're still addressing, because you can look at films from 1930s, 40s, 20s that are still applicable today. And it's part of the scourge of the construct of whiteness that has caused a deficit for us as humans across the globe, because with colonialism came this construct, and it's depriving the entire world of a much more advanced global culture. I am a Afrocentric person. I'm also a universalist in that I see the family of man, or family of human beings, strike the family of man.
That's right. That's right.
And so the work that we're involved in is to uplift the whole of humanity. Of course, we have to also concentrate on the areas that needs attention and the shoring up, and so therefore we have to talk about the aspects of Black culture, what's happening with Black people, the deprivation that we've experienced. And at the same time, I'm very positive because we are making strides. And I think it's important to speak of the strides, or else we would be uh, exemplifying a defeatist attitude if we don't talk about the strides that we've made, that we're not working in vain, that our people have not worked in vain, and others have not worked in vain. So we have to note the progress that we've made as well.
I'm Al McFarlane. This is Conversations with Al McFarlane, having a wonderful bicontinental conversation, almost tricontinental. We have from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Brother Malaku Bilay, who is the founding director of the Fandika Cultural Center. He's a world-renowned Ethiopian dancer and an ambassador for Ethiopia's music and dance. In 2018, he became the founding president of Ethiopian Dance Art Association. He was celebrated as a finalist for the 2018 Yibego Su Award, which is Ethiopian Person of the Year, in the category of raising global awareness of Ethiopian culture. His international honors include the 2015 Chevalier des Arts et des Lettres in France, a 2019 Visa for Music Award in Morocco, and the 2020 Prince Claus Award at the Netherlands. He's a contemporary virtuoso interpreter of Eskrista. His spectacular mastery of Ekista, I hope I'm saying that right, has earned him the nicknames of Walking Earthquake and King of Ekista. He grew up as a street kid in the 80s in Ethiopia. He learned many regional dances and of Ethiopia in religious festivals such as Timket, folk ceremonies, and in everyday activities in Addis Ababa and the countryside, where music and dance are a vital part of cultural and spiritual expression. And there's more that I'll share with you as you go along, but obviously this story gives your connection to creativity, to creation, and to the legacy and history of our people. Before I bring you back, Brother Bealey, I want to introduce again a new artist here, not a new artist, but another person joining the program. That's my friend, my dear friend, Takumba Aiken. Brother Takumba, good to see you, man. How you doing?
Well, this is a little bit more advanced than 2 cans and a string, but I figured it out.
Well, we were looking for you last week and you made it this week. And as they say, always right on time. And you've got some beautiful, powerful images behind you. Tell me what's behind you. Tell the radio audience what's behind you so they can see it in their mind's eye when they hear you talk about it.
These are just paintings of mine that I'm working on. The one at the bottom here is called Awakening. It's about 7 feet wide, 5 feet high. And it's just I don't know if you can see, it's just a young man or a young woman, however you perceive it, radiating this energy, radiating the positive energies of our ancestors, and making it come forth. The face, when you look at it close, the face may be one way, then all of a sudden you notice it's looking another way, and all of a sudden you notice moving another way. The one above it, I don't know if I can do this or not. I want to do it without knocking off this one doesn't want to give it it doesn't want me to give it a name yet, so I'm very frustrated because it's done, but nothing's ever done because time continues. And this one is just sort of addressing a multifaceted, multicolors, multi-celebration. But a lot of people think that color is always happy. Color can be pain, or that driving force, that pounding. Malaku, when I think of dancing, I used to be a dancer, and if you didn't pound the ground, I had to pound the ground before I went and danced on the floor. I had to pound the dirt because that's where the ancestors fed us. I used to play African drums and things like that. So even when I'm painting, still the colors, it's a headdress, it's a face, and it's the clothing below, but it all kind of fits in together. And outside of it are the dots, lots of little dots, which represent to me people, energies, contribution, and it moves around. But then also it looks like a galaxy, molecules, and so I try to make sure that people will not ever be allowed to separate us from anything because we were the ones that discovered everything. So that's basically what these things are, pieces are. There's this one, I'm going to bring it up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting over here, not wanting to be ignored, and then I'll stop talking. And it's this one here.
Wow.
So what is that? What is it saying? What is that piece saying?
Well, this piece is like faces intermingle with other faces. There's two that face each other, but then there's those that face outside of it too. The profiles, these are what I call thought bubbles.
Huh.
And I think thought bubbles are the gathering of many, 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 many things, ancestors' experiences and all. And it's just like a cloud. And sometimes you see it, and sometimes you don't. You're not supposed to see it all the time, right? And so there's a little bit more of a close-up of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, and I'm just sorry that the radio audience can't see it, but you're describing it properly.
Yeah, I'll say it's like swirling lines, like when you take a pen and you swirl it all over and you find the face in there, but these lines are red and black, and it's gold, and the spaces in between are colors like fabric, like it could be a Dinkra cloth or it could be G. Spin's cloth, but different kinds of cloth that you put together to represent the past people who have used it, and they've worn it, and instead of throwing it away, it just gets used again. Many cultures do that. They say, oh, no, don't throw it away. Let's just cut it up and then we'll make it this. We can make it the tent. We can make it the roof. We can make it the floor. We can make it the table cover. You don't throw your ancestors away. So hopefully when these paintings get older, they can just tear them off the canvas and make a coat. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I don't take ownership like that. I take the responsibility of delivering a story, a message. Like Douglas was saying, Brother Douglas was saying, I'm a universalist, actually. I'm a intergalactical, maybe, but I'm put here for this time period. And my main thing that I think I'm put here for is to heal the hearts and souls of people and their communities by evoking a positive spirit. So that's all I gotta say.
Well, that's a lot. That's a whole
lot.
bunch.
Once again, the power of words there. You know,
I've been learning.
I think Tacumba painted a visual picture for folks' imagination. To quote our dear beloved Bill Cotman, he would always say, "I will see you on the radio." And once again, you know, Tacumba, before you came on, Douglas talked about naming. Here, the power of names. Tacumba just described himself. And we don't really have the words to describe the work and the passion and the love that goes into the work that you as you gave the description of Malaku's work and Douglas's work and Tacumba's work. These are all multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary artists that cross all kind of barriers, and there's no word really yet to describe them. And as Tacumba said, you know, this is in the grand outer space tradition of Sun Ra as well, too.
I'm referencing him.
Yeah, really, to name and rename what we do.
Douglas, you've got some phenomenal work in your background in the picture as well. Would you describe what that is and talk about it?
This is called the People's Idiophone. And an idiophone is a percussive instrument. This instrument is made from recycled items, you know, old pots, pot covers, hubcaps, serving dishes, and there's a washboard. You might not be able to see it. It's over on the side.
How does it sound?
Yeah, can you play it?
Yeah, play something.
Wow.
You know, and this is amazing. We're looking at it for those who are on radio. It's a 2-level rec. Oh, there we go.
Wow.
This instrument was set up outside of the military house for over a year so that people walking by could come and play it. It was near a bus stop, so a lot of people, I would just go there and sit and not, you know, let anybody knew who I was or that I had made it or anything. And it was just beautiful to see children, adults, and there was a man, a homeless man that came there every day to play it. I guess as a great outlet for him. But the point of it is that we can make things ourselves, and we don't have to always go and purchase things. And we can do simple things in the house where we play music together, because we've abdicated that aspect of the culture to where this notion of being entertained is so much a part of not living, because if you can do this kind of expression together as a group, as a family, it's very galvanizing. It brings us together, and you have a greater appreciation for people that spend their whole lives as sound seekers or sound scientists, as they're sometimes called by people like Phil Coran, um, of, from originally from Missouri, actually I think from Tennessee and then Missouri and then Chicago. But utilizing your creativity, utilizing the things that are around you, repurposing items that are discarded. Um, I have an instrument here, and I won't take long. I'll just quickly show you. This is a ski, a beautiful wooden ski that was thrown away. And it's perfect for the hands. It's very durable. It's beautifully made. So it's sculpture, it's sonic, and at the same time, we're dealing with environmental issues. And it's as legitimate as any instrument, because all the instrument is a means of making a certain kind of expression possible. One more comment about that was in Ozzie Davis's talk with Melvin Van Peebles and Gordon Parks. He was talking about the advancement of music, that because of our history of being enslaved, language was taken from, being able to speak your language or to say anything or to write anything. And so the music had an opportunity to survive, that and the dance. And so he was saying that eventually the other forms of expression, like writing and filmmaking, will get parallel to the music. And he used Louis Armstrong as an illustration to say, when he was a boy, there were some things he didn't like about Louis Armstrong, the handkerchief and all that. But when he put that trumpet to his mouth, he was saying everything that he wanted to hear. The power of the music, the power of being. He said he could kill with that trumpet. He wasn't just talking about murdering in that way. He was talking about just the soul power of how a sound can envelop you and how it can transform people's conditions in so many ways.
Yeah.
Powerful. That statement leads me to think about the power of music, the power of the word, the power of speech. Music in particular, to destroy ignorance. Ignorance is our adversary, but ignorance exists in us and in others in the world. And where the ignorance becomes institutionalized, it creates structures that en masse disables, disadvantages people. And our job, in my view, as creators and as human beings, is to work without being tired, against the impact and against the presence of ignorance. That's the fight, is to seek and achieve and believe that we can achieve what I call liberation of ourselves, our community, our families, and of humanity. I think that's a role that we have both been assigned and have undertaken, and that we take it seriously, that we take this work seriously, and that seriousness is expressed, Douglas, in your art, your sound craft. Let me share with our listeners a little bit about you from your website. I'm reading, perhaps the best known as a composer, improviser, sculptor, and maker of masks and instruments, Douglas R. Ewart is also an educator, lecturer, arts organization consultant, and all-around visionary. In projects done in diverse media throughout an award-winning and widely acclaimed 40-year career, Mr. Ewart has woven his remarkably broad gifts into a single sensibility that encourages and celebrates as an antidote to the divisions and compartmentalization afflicting modern life, the wholeness of individuals and culturally active communities. It goes on, just a short sentence or two more. Born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1946, Douglas R. Ewart immigrated to Chicago, Illinois in the U.S. in 1963. His travels throughout the world and interactions with diverse people since then has again and again confirmed his view that the world is an interdependent entity. Great comment, great description, and a great way to connect with you. Takumba, when you were talking, you were mentioning the piece you're working on that hasn't given itself a name yet.
Right.
I love talking to you because you always talk like that, right?
Well,
and that's a wonderful thing. So talk about that.
My ancestors taught me to talk. It's like, that's the thing about words. They used to call me deaf and dumb because I was told to speak when I was spoken to. So I just didn't say anything. Adults didn't talk to me, so all I did was listen, and I learned a lot more that way. But with my paintings, I would be arrogant if I gave them a name before they told me who they were. I'm still I'm seeking, even when I do portraits of people, I'll go, here's your portrait. And I would say, well, what would you call it? I said, your portrait. Because I'm going to stay out of it. They want to name it whatever, like for performance and stuff, I would do pointillism. A lot of people don't even know that I used to do realism and super realism. But it's in between the lines, between those dots where I looked and found things, I find between trees, when the wind blows a certain way, it makes the leaves make certain sounds there. But then another tree has a different sound because it has a different leaf. Or if it's a pine tree, it has a whistle, And so for me, naming something is a very serious thing. When our parents gave us our name, we weren't playing about, oh, that's just a name, I'll change it later. You better not change your name. You can change it and you can lose yourself. My grandmother came and gave me my name back when I was 8 years old. She had given it to my parents, and they were like, oh, we're up north now, we don't have to do that. But she came, and when she first said my name, it scared me because I always heard it in my head as a little kid. She might have just whispered it when I talk to your grandmother for a second. That might be the only thing she was saying in my ear. But when I met this woman, it opened up a whole other thing. We went to Africa, opened up another thing, and Nigeria, for Festac 77, and Ghana, something that was clicking with me when Douglas was playing is that Douglas taught me how to make those, and we did that for our community. But one day, Douglas came up and showed me a brochure that I illustrated with Bea Richards on the cover and Sweet Honey and Rock on the bottom. It was for the celebration of the Kuba Workshop in Chicago. And then inside was Douglas and the group out of Chicago. What's the name of it, Douglas?
Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians, better known as AACM.
So these are cats that even played on tree trunks, cut them out. They were just amazing. But I never knew that. So I did something in the 70s that Douglas was inside the brochure because he showed it to me many years later. And I said, oh, man, I lost that. Where'd you get that? He said, oh, man, it's mine. And all of a sudden I realized this cycle of life, I call it a Mobius strip. It could go way out there and around, but it's picking up stuff and bringing it back,
Takumba, let me jump in here, Takumba, on the same thought. same wavelength. You sent out maybe a while ago a copy of a document that you did around Festech 77. You were in it, and it was something, maybe a piece organized by a sister. I can't remember her name, but I sent you a note back. You remember what I'm talking about
Oh,
now?
you mean Betty Saar?
Betty, yeah. Is she
Oh.
still around? Is she still with us?
Betty Saar is, yeah, she's about 94 or something. I was, oh, it might be in the other room. I was just looking at it.
I saw that. So I sent you a note saying, is she still around? And if she isn't available, let's get her on the show.
Yeah, you have to, I don't know. I can't get a hold of Betty myself. I'll have to try Allison. But she's in Oakland.
Okay.
But I was just reading it. I mean, I glanced through it a lot of times. It was her sketchbook of things that were going on here. And there were certain shrines that we couldn't take photographs, but she drew them. And then somebody, Robert Project, it's called the Robert Project,
Right,
doing a show of hers and did the book. And they said, oh God, I wish we could have some photographs from that time, Betty. And she said, Ty has photographs. My middle name is Tyrone. And they called me and I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. And then my sister said, yes, you know. I reached over in the back of a shelf, pull out this little thing of these things, you know, and it said Betty Saar, Festech.
just like that.
I would have had to have been looking forever, you know, but so I sent them the pictures, and then there was some that were I was in, and somebody said, well, how are you in the picture and taking a picture? But in Nigeria, there's some young kids that were so smart and they were so curious. I just showed them how to use my camera because I didn't want to be out of all the pictures. You know, if you're the photographer, nobody takes a picture of you and you don't exist. It took, 77 to 2020 for people to really know that I really was at Festech. You see what I'm saying? And then it said my name, and it had with Samela Lewis and Faith Ringo. I'm like, oh, you know?
Because I read that piece, it made me think of another brother who used to be here named Terence Farrell. Remember him, Terence Farrell?
Right. He
Terence Farrell was in Festech in Nigeria. I don't know if he was with you or not.
I ran into him.
Yeah, he was in Nigeria, and he ended up writing a story about Festech 77 that we ran a cover story on in Insight back in 1977 after Festech. But his story captured me in a way that I had not been touched before, and began the fueling of my inquiry into Africanity, because I saw the beauty of the image that we put on the front of Insight News and felt the beauty of the words he wrote about the Festech 77 experience. And it just opened up a floodgate, opened the world. So yeah, Douglas, I was hoping that brother Al-Khali could come back, because he's in Kingston. He's in, not Kingston, but in Jamaica right now. But I wanted to connect the two of you Jamaicans in conversation. He's a cook, among other things. He creates jewelry, art, and I have, here he is. I have a website up that says 80 years old Mama Ina cooks rice and peas with curry chicken, carrot, pineapple juice. And that's a piece about him working with women and men, people in community around the countryside in Jamaica. And they do these marvelous videos, and he's cooking and teaching at the same time. Cooking and telling, cooking and showing art. He's showing people how he makes art, how he designs and creates, but he's inviting them to discover their own ability to reveal their own creativity. So brother Al-Khali, I'm glad you made it back. Let's jump in the conversation.
Good afternoon, everybody.
So come into your micro, your voice is way far back. Your voice is too far back. Come close to your microphone. If you can get close to your microphone, brother, it would be great.
You hear me now?
Not very well. Louder if you can. I heard you perfectly the first time. You were excellent, but that's better. Better. Go.
Technology. Yeah.
It's a little challenging. You know what?
Come at this phone free.
Okay. Keep trying.
And turn off the music.
Hear me now. The music
the
is
music
off.
in the background.
Yeah, but turn it off. We can't hear you good but already.
There's music
And
in the
that's somebody
background.
else's music.
Okay.
Hear me now.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You can hear me?
Yes.
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 Give me one. Boom.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to you. So let's go to Malaku. Bile, Malaku, you've been listening and watching and observing, but we feel your spirit here. We feel the smile on your face that we see. Impressions, thoughts. One question I have for you. Takumba and Setu and Douglas have all talked about identity and the ability to name oneself. And I remember talking to brothers and sisters from Ethiopia and from the Horn of Africa who would say that the naming system that their families and communities are part of is a system that creates an awareness of the lineage, hundreds of generations maybe. And I'm not sure if it's true in the Amharic tradition or not, but if you could talk about the question of identity and the question of antiquity. We all, I think, are believing that we must channel ancient Africa, ancient Kemet, ancient pre-European ways of knowing that healing to the universe will come when we learn to not be enamored or starstruck by recent creations by Europeans, but rather see that the basis for this creation comes out of our own experience, our own lineages. That's what I think. Malako, what do you think?
Thank you very much. You give me patient. You waiting me patient, and you are right. And I'm feeling, and I have to tell a lot. I have, but it's I don't know why. But I'm very happy, Douglas. I can say it church, and I visit your church, and then I love the instrument all, and I wish to live with you, but in spirit I'm there. And thank you very much. And with Genius, big brothers, and I'm very happy. My dance brought me to meet you guys. And I grown up here in Ethiopia. 75% is farmer in Ethiopia, but all the knowledge come from countryside, and they're praying for our planet without any border. And so my stepfather, he's also soldier. He go to in Second World War in supporting South Korea, and 6,000 soldiers go to South Korea to support in Haile Selassie time, Emperor Haile Selassie time. And I grown up his leg, and he's telling me about humanity and stand for your strengths, and that's why I'm become to fight for my justice for humanity. And so is a and when I always when grown up, even Emperor Minilik, he said when fighting with the Italian, when Mussolini come to later to writing for him, please, why is people die from us and from you? He never see less or afraid or so. Who are you? He said, and just he's always believing he's God and he's for humanity. So Minilik is Emperor Minilik fighting for white people justice, for black people justice, for human being, and all in Ethiopia, all is Minilik, all is just fighting for human being. So, and when I grown up, that legacy I want to affect with my art, and to make fighting for justice through my dance, through my culture, and I meet you, an amazing all bridges. And so I believe through the art to change the planet is our planet and our and I don't afraid we are small. And this way I believe individual way we meet together like this to change the world, to make balance, and so to make stay peace with art. And when people fighting with art will be miserable and things go wrong, and or ego or power, missing satisfaction. And but in the art is always giving healing. And that's why even I am in street children, and the only thing is have healing with my dance. My dance is not about like for money or something. It's all the racism, all the ego or justice, bureaucracy. When I dance, I forget everything. And so that's what I got opportunity. I wanted to share for my people, and I want their healing with that. And whatever come a struggle, when I have a difficulty, always I choose myself. I'm lucky because I want fighting to win that and to make bright. And that way, from the street children become now and become big, vibrant, and I start challenging the government or the people through the art, and I put in a scale high. And now everybody's struggle here in the country, and without any say, just I'm practicing, and is never starting, just a beginning. And when I come in US, the beginning, and a very flashy, when I hate it and difficult, and in Ethiopia mostly when coming US, when they think to run away in the US, and it's an amazing. And I'm a street children. People think of me, I'm run away. When I arrive in US and I'm run away. But because they don't know what I am inside researching. And for me, opposite but time after time, I found an amazing people with art. And so that's changing me like you now. And I'm learning from you guys and really to learn. So I'm lucky my vision come true to change the world, to make together something worth it for our planet. I believe heaven is here in our planet. And so I'm very happy this opportunity to meet you, and lack of language to make me shy to as much I want to express, but I feel your energy all. And yeah, and then I'm liking the artist, and what you show me an amazing painting, and I have it gallery in Fandika. I give by free almost for 2 years booking, and every 3 weeks change new artist, and from Sudan last month, now from France, and mostly for I created from local beginner artists. They don't have a lot of gallery, for that I created. So the painter in Ethiopia, they live alone. They are thinkers, they are creative. So from there, another level, they sitting there. And so I want to make bridge together, because to better world to change through the art. And this is a good opportunity to know you. And my thing is, when I dance, I give without expecting, and affecting people like butterfly effect, and just small. And so I hope and I address something. This is my a little bit.
Perfect. perfect. I'm Al McFarlane. This is Conversations with Al McFarlane. A wonderful conversation indeed. You just heard Malaku Bilay, who's a dancer, joining us from Ethiopia, from Addis Ababa. And he's the founding director of Fandika Cultural Center and a world-renowned dancer. I'm going to ask you, Malaku, and I'll ask Setu and Takumba and Douglas the same question, close up with. But when you're dancing, you mentioned that you forget everything. And so I'm a writer, and I love to become, for lack of better words, lost in the act of writing. So sometimes when I'm writing a story, it's almost like I'm looking at myself doing the writing. I'm observing something happening. So the body is doing something in the mind, in the spirit. I think it's what Takumba was saying when he said that the ancestors are talking to him through the work he's working on. I remember Setu telling me years and years ago that he would be aware of the touch and between his finger and the pen and the paper, that at some point in time they would all merge into one, no difference, no distinction. And Douglas, I wanted to ask you, as you were creating that demonstration a minute ago, how does that spirit, that knowledge, that language, that message form itself in your mind and in your spirit? So that's a big question. Short answers. I'll start with Douglas, then Setu, then Takumba.
I think, you actually get found in these realities, that you find another aspect of your being. It's very magical. It also points to the connection with the ancestors. I built instruments, and I wasn't taught to make many of the things, particularly flutes, that I started with. And I just pursued that. And certainly one gets so embroiled in the work that you get into a state, a trance, if you will. But it's not lost. You're found in the world. You find a new aspect of yourself.
Setu?
Yeah, real quickly. I understand that completely. Here again, we need to come up with a name for that. Psychologists and psychiatrists call it the flow state. When you're so deep into it, that's all that you can see at that particular point in time. And with me, people ask me all the time, well, what's your favorite work that you've created? And for me, it's the thing I'm working on right now. I can't even think about all that stuff behind. And then I just want to close with saying, listening to Kumba, Brother Malaku, Douglas, and you, Al, when you give these descriptions, one of the things you're going to have to add is smart, because all of these folks have this remarkable scholarship.
Yeah.
Have read, have listened, have experienced, and all of that makes up their work. And kind of what you were describing, Al, is your philosophic foundation as well. I mean, all of that is so key and important for us, as Malaku has said, to change the world.
Takumba, jump in.
Okay, here we go. I speak with my eyes. So together, follow the bird. When I, it's just as easy as this. I don't think about it. It just tells me what to do. It just, these are just pieces of tape from paintings that I blocked out of other paintings. So we gather together. It's not that it goes blank. It goes into space, into that what do they call that thing? The black hole. Good name for it, because that means they don't know anything of what's going on in there, but there's a whole lot going on in there. And so with me, I used to say I was transformed and transfixed. And what I come out giving is I'm giving back a visual voice. I create a visual voice for people. So it is a trance-like, I used to say, like a visual whirling dervish, because I used to be a dancer, and I used to be a drummer. And when you play the drum, all of a sudden you're gone.
Yep.
You better be finished by the time they close, you know. But it's a matter of when you're playing with other people too. And sometimes the dancer leads you to do things. Sometimes the drummer, and all of a sudden, boom, we all stop at the same time, and we look at each other like, "Is that right?" You know.
Yep. That
But
was it.
Al, there's another thing we have to add on because of you, and it's the voice, the tone, the melodics, the things that take you somewhere, the things that bring you down, the things that calm you, the things that excite you, the things that ignite you. You know, and we've all kind of gotten that from each other. Malako, thank you so much, brother. I look forward to hearing you and seeing you and things to come. But Brother Al, you're the weaver. You know, you take those threads and you take it and you put it, and this tapestry is just so huge. It will be bigger, you know, because each one of us is just a thread. I look forward to that tapestry all the time.
Brother Malahu, we're going to be over time for 1 minute or so, Lady J, if that's okay. Final word, final comment about this process. When you're dancing, what are you feeling? What are you knowing?
When I dancing, I'm just 360-degree, and with the audience, with the musician, the instrument, and I want to be the next and disappear and just be expressed. That's why I said mistake is beauty, and just to be sharing, and I take it, I give back, and with this way of feeling, and so yeah, it's make me happy, and all is come out, and after is all connect from the sky and earth, and so it's yeah, it's not. I'm just a musician, machine on instrument, and I'm very surprised, and I know next what he playing, the saxophone or the music. So, and I'm happy when we meet together,
Ah.
but we never know before each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I love that. You know, there's extra. And
Well, let me close with this idea. Thank you, Lady J, for letting me take an extra minute or so here. But as you were speaking and as all of us talked, the thought came to my mind, words from Mahmoud El-Kadi, our esteemed griot elder here in Twin Cities. And he talked about the word, the act of remembering. And of course, remembering is something that is a common, you thought, well, I forgot it, I remember. But he said, no, not remember that way. That's a way to remember. But think about dismember. And then think about remembering. How do you put the body back together again? That which was dismembered, our culture, our families, our language, our way of knowing, when you remember, reconstitute that, you create something new. Actually, what you're creating new is what existed in the first place, that has been hidden, destroyed, attempted to be destroyed, but it's indestructible. And it's a question of rediscovery. So listen, thank you all for being here. This has been a wonderful conversation. We're going to keep talking about art, creativity, and culture for the next several weeks. And for those of you listening in the audience or watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you. Like the program, share it, tell people about it, join the conversation. I'm Al McFarlane. We'll see you next time.